Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to be checking out a little bit more Ningen ISU. Now, I say a little bit more, we checked out so much Ningen ISU on our previous channel before it got... But hey, since going back with this new channel, this is the first Ningen ISU song we've checked out, so I guess you could say this is our first Ningen ISU review? I don't know. Anyway, as always, well now, as is always, the way that we do things, just for safety's sake, if you'd like to check out the reaction section, go click the link in the description below to actually see the video of the reaction. I'm going to do the review right now because I've just watched the song, so if you haven't already, go back and check out the reaction with me. Go listen to the song with me in the little video linked in the description below. Have you checked it out? Have you heard the song? Have you watched it with me? Did you see the reaction? I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay, so what did I think of this? I was expecting this to be a full music video, so I was kind of interested when it came out to be like a lyric video. I really love the way the video was put together, but first of all, let's just talk about the song. I've said with Ningen ISU, my favourite Ningen ISU songs tend to be the ones where they have a lot of changes up going on, because basically Ningen ISU being a three-piece band, they have this thing they have to work against, which is the fact that on one hand, they always seem to have their songs, or certainly with their most recent songs, the last few years, their songs are always produced with this really great edge where anything that might be lost in metalness by having one guitarist is more than made up for by the fact that the recording has a real sort of tangible grit to it. You can really feel the impact of the strings, whereas with a lot of more heavier bands, they use a lot more compression and it just sounds like really loud, but you don't quite get that feeling, that sort of physicality to it, which you do with Ningen ISU's music. So they have that on one side, and yet on the other side, there's only so much of an arrangement you can do when there are three instrumentalists in your band. Honestly, obviously you can do layering and you can have the guitarist play twice or something like that, but those are things that are harder to then pull off live. So, realistically speaking, they have certain limitations on what they can do arrangement-wise, which makes it very interesting then when they do songs where they change up. You get a section, another section, a verse, a chorus, but then little bridges and little changes and all those kinds of things. Some of their songs, some of their older songs, are just kind of a groove throughout. They fall into a riff and it just kind of follows a pattern. Those ones I've never been so much a fan of. They're okay, but they don't really get me coming back for more. This is an example of, if you like, more of a recent trend of theirs that I can see. I always mention there's songs like the Colour Out of Space is one of them, and then their most recent song, I wish I could remember the name of it, they had a single come out really recently, had the guy dancing in the video. I'm really bad at remembering the names of songs. I loved that song anyway. I love those sorts of ones, and this is really down that route. It starts off with, your usual sort of charging Ningen ISU thing, but then it changes up throughout. Now, what I like is every single section of this seems to be done in a sort of building up way. It seems that everything is charging forwards, because each section you go into feels like it's building up to the next. I mentioned during the reaction, you have that bit where it's one vocal, all the vocals. Things like that. Things like the very last section where they're sort of chanting louder and louder. Everything about this song has that feeling that you're constantly being built up and built up and built up. And then the riff will change, and the riff will change. And this is a really good, effective way of doing it. I mean, yes, the song is essentially, at its core, if you take away all the frills and edges, it is basically verse, chorus, bridge. Not really chorus at the end, but still your bridge crescendo. Still, it really does work at keeping you engaged and keeping you moving on. Now, I'll be interested to know how much this works upon repeat listens, and that is something that I will be finding out myself, because I'm definitely going to come back to giving this more listens. I did enjoy this quite a lot. Like the tone of it, like the energy, like it kind of had that Ningen ISU quality when Ningen ISU are at their best, where it's kind of almost tongue-in-cheek. It is heavy, you can probably rock out to it, but you can kind of smile at the same time and go, this is a little bit... It's got kind of a twee metalness to it, if that's possible to explain. So it just really, for me, worked very well. I think that building energy, the way they went through those different things, each of the riffs was really expertly put together. Again, if you've heard enough metal music, then you've heard what it's like when you've got a song that has a lazy or lame riff in it. That can be quite a nauseating and boring thing to have to listen to over and over. So it's kind of an underrated art. Well, I guess maybe it depends on who you talk to, but the ability to write a riff that is very good, very engaging, but not sort of like a standout, not your sort of put it at the front of a song, everyone knows that riff. I mean, one that works underneath an arrangement. That's something Ningen ISU have really managed to certainly nail, as of recent at the very least. And this is a really good example of that. The riffs themselves, they don't stand out. It's not like you could, by just off the top of your head, remember how many of the riffs go and then hum them along. but in the context of the song, they really work at powering everything. And so that's kind of what I mean. You're looking at a 3-piece band, but they're using all 3 vocals effectively. And depending on how they did in the studio. And then they're taking the guitar and the bass and they're making something that has drive to it. It's cleverly written. They've only got access to a small number of instruments, but they're making sure that all the notes they play count and work. And so, like I say, this is a quintessential example of what works for me with Ningen S. And it was supported by a really good video. I like that little lyric video. I like the way it was done. Little head bob thing was really cool. They picked really fantastic photographs of all 3 members to make that really work, and I like the little kaleidoscope effect. It was great, and the one with the bassist's face just suddenly turns up to a face all of a sudden, and he's got his mouth wide open. There was just some clever little touches in that, the little 60s style spiral hypnotic thing. Yeah, there was just some really nice touches throughout this. I can't help but say that this is one of the songs I've most liked of recent. Given those other 2 songs that I mentioned, this would probably join those as being part of my top three favourite Ningen ISU songs thus far. I would say I'd have to go back and check, but I think at the moment those probably stand as my top 3 in some order that I would have to formulate or calculate later on. So yeah, this to me is a positive sign that I will keep on listening to more Ningen ISU. I'm enjoying listening to some of the more obscure stuff as well. Makes it a bit interesting, getting a little feeling of where they came from originally and where they're going to. Obviously they gave some little call outs, some little single frame flashes and call outs to the fact that this was a 30th anniversary celebration, which obviously was quite recently, so I'm assuming this song was very recent, at least from where I picked it up on their YouTube. So yeah, lots of credit to Ningen ISU as always. Really enjoyed it, can't wait to come back for more. And as always, when I come back for more, I hope you guys are here. You know how this works. Please remember this channel is all about discussion. So get into the comments. Leave your thoughts, whether you liked it or disliked it, whether you know the artist or if you don't know the artist. Tell us what you think, and remember that you can also join us for more discussion on the Discord, in the link in the description below. If you want to suggest songs, there's the Reddit, also in the link in the description below. And also, big thank you to our Patreon people who keep us going even when we had to remake the channel again. Yay! Starting from 0. Link in the description below. So anyway, until I see you on the next video, thank you so much for joining me here today, and hopefully I'll see you soon. And until then, for now, ciao ciao.